everyone. I am going to be showing you how to print on fabric using freezer paper and your regular printer, but I will also be doing a wash test to see just how long this ink will last if you do this. So to start, we're just going to need some fabric, and I just have a little scrap piece of white here that I got in one of my scrap bags from Fat Quarter Shop. And then I have my home printer, and then I have some freezer paper. I bought this at my local store, and they only had the brown ones, but I believe you can get white paper like this on Amazon. I will leave a link to that in the description box below. So the first thing I did is I just tore off a piece of that freezer paper. The one side has a shiny side and then the other side is dull. The shiny side is what we are going to be ironing onto our fabric. So you need to make sure that you have the shiny side touching the fabric. And you want to do this on the right side of your fabric. I'm just using white here, so I'm not really sure if that would matter. So I'm just making sure that the shiny side is touching my fabric. I'm just going to line it up best as I can. And this is obviously bigger than what's going to fit in my printer, but once I have ironed it, I will cut it to the size that I want. And I'm just going to be doing a standard letter size, so 8.5 by 11 inches. And you don't need to press it very long, just a little bit, and then the fabric will actually cling very nicely to the freezer paper. Once I have that pressed on there, I am going to cut it to the size that I need. And like I said, just standard letter size paper. I've seen other videos on YouTube doing this, but I've never seen how long it actually lasts, so I want to do a wash test. I did see one where she prepped the fabric with a solution before she did this. I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. I did nothing fancy with this. I just pressed it and then I cut it to the size that I needed, and I'm going to put this into my printer. And you do have to be careful because this can jam up your printer, so you want to make sure that everything is nice and neat and just be careful and go slow. Then I'm going to find the document that I created. I just did a paper with some little graphics on there and some text and then a little picture of my daughter because I figured that way I could see how it would go. And here I was like, oh no, it's jamming, but it actually worked out. It came out nicely. It was okay, but I had a moment of panic there. I would have just redone it then and tried it again. So just make sure that you're careful when you put it in there and that it's not crimped up so that those corners fold over and you end up jamming your printer. Well, I think it turned out pretty good. Like the graphics, you can see them and everything. The text is nice and clear, and those folded corners didn't end up jamming my printer, so that's good. The picture is not the best quality, but I think that was just because my picture wasn't the best quality that I had on my phone, and that's okay. And apparently there was a little thread there, and then so the printer missed a little spot, but that's okay. I wanted to do this test because I have an idea for a quilt, and I would need to print pictures on there, but I want to do this before I go and make a whole quilt and then wash it, and it just doesn't work out. So I'm just going to peel this paper off, and you don't need to throw that paper away. You can actually just reuse it, and then the next time just press it onto your fabric and then just cut around the outer edges. And here you can just kind of see a little bit closer on how it printed. I think it printed pretty well on fabric. I mean, I have the cheapest printer you can find at Walmart, so I'm actually impressed with that. But I'm going to take this over to the ironing board and I'm going to heat set all of this ink. I'm going to do it the same way as if I was using a Sharpie or a Micron pen to do my labels. And those seem to hold up very well in the wash if I heat set them. So we're going to see if this is the same. So I just kind of put a backing fabric on here. That way I can throw it in the wash and not have to worry about it fraying. So I'm going to show you after every single wash and then we will see how long it takes for this to fade. All right, I threw this in my washing machine. I washed it the same way as I would all my quilts, and voila, there's like nothing left. So this does not work. Maybe you do need to get that solution and prep your fabric because this did not work. And I know I will not be making a quilt using this method until I can figure out how to make those pictures last. I mean, you can still see the picture and the text, but the other graphics, they're gone. So no, I wouldn't recommend doing this method if you want to make it for something that you're going to wash. So if it's just a wall hanging that you're not going to wash, yeah, it works great, but don't do this for on a quilt. At least not this method. I am going to do a little searching and I will find that solution and see if that makes a difference and redo this video. Well, that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time.